time.
Hey everybody listening, this is Chris, this is the Botch Pit. I'm here with Brad and Lenny.
Hey.
And this is the inaugural gameplay session of Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. So, just for the sake of explanation, I started playing Vampire 21 years ago. And I moved on to the other World of Darkness games, and I've ranted about it enough. But it's very strange coming home to this and playing with people that have never actually played as a vampire. So...
That's not true, I did.
You played as a vampire for like 2 hours. Vampire the Requiem, specifically.
Yeah,
Nope.
It wasn't good.
No vampire here.
Brad, give me a little bit of background on your character.
Alright. I am playing Alexander Stein. He was formerly a 9-to-5 office worker in an insurance company. Ended up finding out his wife was cheating on him, wanted to kill himself, ended up getting sired, and this is currently where the Chronicles pick
That's
up.
where it's going to pick up.
Okay.
Lenny,
What's up?
background on your character, brief.
Alright, so yeah, my guy's name is Bartleby, or Bart for short. He is an enforcer and one of the local biker gangs.
Got your hand covering your mouth. when
I
you
know,
talk.
I'm sorry, I was itching my eyeball.
Scratching it.
Touching it.
I hate you.
Carry on.
I don't even remember where it was. So yeah, he's an enforcer in one of the local biker gangs, and he is one bad dude. You do not want to meet him in a dark alley.
Which is ironically being a predator type of alley cat, where you are most likely to find him.
Thank you for spelling out my joke, Chris.
Mine.
What was that?
That's a Portuguese symbol for stealing things. You put your thumb in your palm and you wiggle your fingers. I know it's weird. I didn't make that up though. It's true.
Huh.
Yeah?
Why?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I wish I had a better, more dramatic explanation for you. But I don't, so we're moving on.
And now the internet knows.
Thanks, Internet.
Well, no, because they didn't see him make the motion, so he doesn't know.
I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. What isn't?
Chris's
that
hand
one
motion's on
person
YouTube.
YouTube's that.
I mean, they allow us on YouTube, so it's
now.
pretty much open season. All right, so for clarification's sake, again, Vampire the Masquerade. Normally our bread and butter here has been Chronicles of Darkness, but with this, we are making a legitimate return to the classic World of Darkness, when the setting for the World of Darkness stuff is considered something called Gothic Punk. And it's where there's themes of overbearing Gothic type settings, where like skyscrapers take the place of castles, if you will. And the punk situation is, it seems like everything is against you constantly, and you're rebelling against things even if you can't see them.
It's not a phase mob, it's who I
not a-
am!
That whole persona like matches
Oh my
Vampire
God.
the Masquerade perfectly for back in the day. Trench coat ninjas. It's a trope. Look it up. It's a legit trope.
I don't
Of course.
want to.
Oh, you do.
I do.
And if you really want to see the best example of that, get the Dirty Secrets of the Black Handbook. It is depressing.
Is that the teleports behind you and Tips' fedora?
Pretty much. Pretty much. It's nothing personal.
Nothing personnel, kid.
I'll kill him if 2 parasites. Nothing personal.
Yeah, I'm going home.
I think we've all lost it by this point.
He says he's going home, but he's going home to his body pillow, so it's really not defending him from anything.
Dude, they're not supposed to know about that, you ass.
It's like Yuna from Final Fantasy or something. I'm going to make some fan out there upset by that. Somebody out there is going to have a body pillow. I came over from your gaming site.
Oh god, they're gonna post pictures.
Pixar, it didn't happen. All right.
My body pillow is so crusty, it stands by
So,
itself.
all right, guys. All right.
Oh, I love Filthy Frank.
We are, as do I. All right. So, we are going to start with Brad.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your character's name again?
Alexander Stein?
Alexander Stein. And what was the name of your sire?
Jack Burton.
All right. You're going to send me your relationship map later.
Yeah.
6 months. It's been 6 long months. You've been kept in the penthouse, going out only with your sire, or only with one of his handlers, learning the tenets, learning the methods, prowling the streets. What is your type that you need to feed from specifically?
Depressed people.
People with depression? All right. So what is your primary method of finding them?
Bars. Probably bars.
Just prowling bars.
Prowling the bars, probably.
So you're a proud venture, and you're prowling bars.
Well, if anything, maybe the higher end ones, they might seem that they're happy, but they're not.
Sir, I want to help you. What is your type? Whores. Whores. Sad whores. The sadder the better.
Cheap ones, preferably.
Cheaper.
Just because
Yes, I
money
care.
doesn't make them
I've
happy.
got money. What I don't have is cheap whores. All right.
You're mispronouncing it. It's Hoors.
Whores? Frank Reynolds style.
Whores.
All right.
Yeah, did you warn them about all the Sunny references we're going to make?
Don't even say the name of the show, or else now I don't know if we'll get flagged. I don't know how that works.
You already asked to be
Okay.
sponsored.
I asked to be, but they didn't do it, so I don't want to get banned. All right.
Just a few more episodes.
So allow me to give you a quick breakdown. You've heard this more times now than you can count, where he has sat you down in the study. He's sat across from you. Arms folded. He's taught you how to be less of a broken salesman, which is what you were at the end of things, when you were at the end of that rope, ready to drink yourself into oblivion in that bar when he found you, and he remembered who you were. He remembered your potential. And he sits you down every night. And he goes, remember the 6 traditions. It's how we survive. It's how we are capable of moving and functioning in these modern nights. He goes, the first and most important, not the only important, but the most important, is the masquerade. Thou shalt not reveal thy true nature to those not of the blood. Doing so shall renounce thy claims of blood. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Don't.
He goes, come on. We've spent months with this. Let's go.
Do not let others onto what we are. Do not break the image that we create. Keep it a secret.
Good enough. The second tradition, domain. Thy domain is thine own concern. All others owe thee respect while in it, and none may challenge thy word while in thy domain. What does that mean?
Pay respects to those who are in charge. Show them.
Understand their land is their land, and they have done things to earn it that you possibly cannot fathom.
Yes.
Are we clear?
Mm-hmm.
Third tradition, the progeny. Thou shalt only sire another with the permission of thine elder. If thou creates another without thine elders have, well, things end badly. You need permission to do such things in these modern nights. And do you know why?
Don't want to just needlessly create more. Those without rules. Those without the ability to listen and follow.
And?
Keep the masquerade.
Yes. But why does keeping our numbers thinner benefit such a cause?
Food.
No. It's because the more you make, the less likely they are to be, let's just say, of a certain mental persuasion. Intelligence is in short supply. Stupidity is not. The fourth tradition, accounting. Those thou create are thine own children. Until thy progeny shall be released, thou shalt command them in all things. Their sins are thine to endure. What does that mean? He stands up at this point, walking back and forth across the fireplace. His eyes cast over to the flame each and every time. You can almost see a certain hunger behind them. Like there's something begging to leap out into the flame. Something that you feel within you as you look into the fire. But then you calm yourself, remembering it is not real. It is synthetic flame.
Until they are able to walk on their own.
Keep going.
Until they're able to walk on their own, those under you are your responsibility for everything they do, and they are your burden to bear.
That's right, Alexander. You are my burden.
Yes.
And you'd be best not to forget it.
Of course.
I'm responsible for you.
Of course.
The fifth tradition, hospitality. Honor one another's domain. When thou comest to a foreign city, thou shalt present thyself to the one who ruleth there. Without the word of acceptance, thou art nothing. What does that mean? His arms are crossed behind his back as he paces, casting his eyes over to you occasionally.
Hospitality. Need to, the same with showing respect, need to obtain permission to, need to obtain as well permission as well as be a hospitable guest in someone else's domain.
All right. The sixth tradition, destruction. While not as important as the first, it is quite possibly meant to be second. Thou art forbidden to destroy another of thy kind. The right of destruction belongeth only to thine elder, and only the eldest among thee shall call the blood hunt. What does that mean?
Do not kill one of our own. Only those older and wiser than us can make that choice.
Remember, Alexander, ours is a long game.
Yes.
Do not be prone to anger or acts of bitterness or pettiness. Those are some of the things that have led to destruction of our kind in great number these past few nights. Control yourself, and remember, if someone is truly worthy of the wrath, it will come to them in time. Mature, gain your strength,
Yes.
and then strike your enemies down. He casts a look over to you and goes, are we clear?
Of course.
It's like, I have something to tell you, Alexander. And he sits down in the chair across from me and he puts his hands in his lap. He goes, tomorrow evening, I am introducing you to the prince. We are going to see whether or not you are meant to stay under my care, partially under my care, or to be a free kindred.
Thank you.
Don't thank me yet. Wait until tomorrow and see what the prince thinks of you. He is prone to acts of anger. Final death is not uncommon in his court. But that will only come if you have been deserving of such. And as I've had you under my care the past 6 months, you've been fairly well behaved. A couple of moments here and there where you haven't used the best of judgment, but over and above all, you've done all right. Acceptable. So, if you have any questions beforehand, let me know before we slumber. He goes, and please stop saying and
How will I know the prince?
I will be there and I will introduce him to you. It's a ceremony.
Thank you.
It is the Elysium tomorrow evening, where all the kindred, in case you forget, gather. We celebrate. We discuss things in the modern nights. Think of it as a kindred dinner party, where you are to be on your best behavior. Because do not forget, even once I release you from my care, should you be released, which I heavily, heavily doubt, even when you are a truly free kindred that's been free for 200 to 500 years, your actions will still reflect upon me.
Yes.
You understand?
Of course.
All right.
Counting.
Correct. He stands up and he goes, have a good evening, Alexander.
You as well.
And he steps out of the study. Bartleby. The tent flap is thrown open without ceremony as Sebastian cries out, Bartleby, get your lazy ass's sack flesh back in here! You hear a smashing of what you think might be a beer bottle, but you're not quite sure. And in general, the flap closes as he storms back inside. One of the guys next to you, Curtis, goes, hey, Bart, I think the boss is looking for you.
What gave it away?
I think he just tossed open the tent and called you in there. He's like, he throws back a swill of beer.
Get up.
All right.
To the tent.
You step inside the tent, which is put in a large fairground, so you guys decide to make camp. Apparently Sebastian knew the guy, and a circus had been there recently, and they pulled up stakes and went about their way. But in order to give you guys some privacy, the gentleman who owned the land kept the circus on the books for a day or two, so that way you guys had a place to meet up outside the city before you headed in. Inside, there's 3 folded chairs set up. Sebastian's sitting in one of them. the VP, Driz, is sitting in the one beside him, and then there's one facing the two of them meant for you. He kind of holds open his hand, gesturing for you to sit.
I go and sit.
He goes, "Hey Bart, listen. Tomorrow we head to the city, and so we've been kind of roving around for the past couple months after all the shit that went down back in Montreal. But here's the deal: some of us are settling down here. We've spoken to the prince of the city, and he's looking for a sheriff and a group of enforcers. And we're settling down. Part of that is, well, I've got to introduce you to him. You're one of our newer guys." He's like, "The rest, I mean, he already knows Driz. He knows me. He hasn't met you. So, mind you, at this point, you've been a vampire for about 9 months as well. Mm-hmm. Your reputation has been built upon mostly beating the shit out of whoever they tell you to beat the shit out of. A lot of times it's humans that owe money to the groups. Once or twice it's been other groups. Sometimes it's been rival gangs that are like composed of Bruja and other anarchs. Despite what most people think, and the gangrel being very, on their own, Sebastian has made it pretty clear that he sides with the Camarilla. Whenever he goes to the cities, he introduces himself to the prince. Even if you guys are just passing through, he takes everybody involved, all of you guys. He never introduces you and Driz by name, really. Mm-hmm. You kind of just travel with him, and the prince makes it clear that Sebastian understands that if you guys do anything stupid while you're in the city, it's on him. And once or twice, stupid things have happened in the cities, and you guys haul ass. You just get out of there before things go fully south. He's like, "Listen, me and the prince here, we got some history, right? Me and his sire used to ride together once upon a time. He's not a bad kid, but he's a little temperamental for a prince. But hey, it is what it is. So tomorrow, when you see him, you behave yourself. You act polite, and if he starts to lose his shit, if he starts to hit you, fucking take it. We clear?"
Yep.
Yeah, how clear are we? Scale of 1 to fucking listen to my words.
Crystal.
Beautiful. Great. Get the fuck out of here. Hey, what's the first tradition?
The Masquerade.
What's that mean?
Uphold it.
What's it mean? What's the Masquerade?
Don't let him know we exist.
Alright. That's really the only one that really fucking matters. Mm-hmm. But you gotta know at least that one going in there. They may ask you. That one's important. Remember it. Alright, fuck out of here.
I'm monitoring my red shotguns.
He goes, "What's that?"
I said, "Have a good night."
You, as soon as you say jackass, or whatever it was you muttered under your breath, you felt immediately guilty and you wanted to apologize to him. Like, immediately. For the record, for anybody listening, just so they understand what's happening, our friendly player Bartleby has 2 significant flaws that matter in this matter. He's got infamy of 2 because in front of his gang he lost his shit, and he went to go beat the hell out of the president, who's also his sire. But the other 2 dots of flaws is blood slave, because after he tried to do that, his sire decided to teach him a lesson, and he blood-bound his ass.
Sorry I called you a jackass.
Yeah, I know it. I know you love me, baby. And he goes, "Fuck off." Alright, you step out of the tent. You see the gentle flames off in the distance flicker against the chrome on your gas tank of your bike. You're just like, you kind of just want to take off. Part of you just says, "I just want out of here." But that's not how things work.
Nope.
And even if you wanted to, A, he could hunt you down. B, if he couldn't hunt you down, if he goes to present himself to the prince, if he does have history with him like he says, he could try to call a bloodhound on you. And just so you are aware, because again, my players are new to Vampire the Masquerade. They've been playing on Chronicles of Darkness. A blood hunt is when someone in the city does something that the prince really doesn't like, and he calls on every vampire in the goddamn city to hunt them down and bring it to him.
So it basically puts out a bounty.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, though, you got 3 major sects now. three major sects of the group. You have the Camarilla, you have the Anarchs, and you have the Independents. Now, the Camarilla sees it that if you're not Camarilla, it doesn't matter which one of those you are. So, when there's a blood hunt, even the Anarchs in the Independents may hop in on it to get a favor from the prince or whatever. Mm-hmm. Typically, Anarchs won't, because they know that the Camarilla appreciate the help, and they won't do it just to spite the Camarilla. But some of them do, because they're like, oh shit, I can get a piece of land in here. Mm-hmm. Because you can typically, if you're the one that, takes the person out and brings the proof, they'll reward you. Like, you can even ask for pieces of land to hunt on, that's your land. You could ask for maybe permission to sire. Maybe, depending on how grievous the crime was, you could perform diablerie on the criminal. Now, are you aware of what diablerie is? Either of you?
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
I've been playing this game for 6 months, Chris. Of course I don't know what it is.
That's what I figured. All right. Diablerie is where you not only suck the vampire dry, but you keep pulling and you literally devour their soul. And if they are a lower generation than you, like you're a generation 12 vampire, mm-hmm. say you killed a generation 11, you'll become a generation 11.
Mm-hmm. So it's like a reverse Highlander.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, your aura, certain vampires can see that.
Turns black.
There's black veins in it, and they can see it, and you get a rep pretty quick. But if you did it during the blood hunt, well, the ends justify the means, and so you'll get a pass. So, you may also get a bit of their, whatever their powers are, their disciplines. Mm-hmm. But also, depending on how powerful the vampire is that you diablerized, if they were a lot more powerful than you, they may just take your ass over and still exist within you and take you over.
It's a gamble.
Okay.
I mean, typically if it's a generation or two above, you're okay. But it can happen. It has happened.
Hey, you can't.
Don't even... All right. We don't know who's listening to this podcast, so we can't make that joke.
Nobody! No.
That's not true. We're up to like 36 views. Wow. We have 7 subscribers to our channel, everybody. And I am unfathomably excited about that. Is that sad?
I feel like half of them is us.
Yes.
And Nick.
That's still like 7 if we count people we know. We have people from Italy and Ireland watching it.
We're getting off topic.
Yes. But, alright guys. So, this was meant to be just the introduction to the campaign. So, that's where everything's going to begin. I'm going to take a break here so I can upload this in chunks. Our next session, which is going to be started recording in about 5 minutes, is going to be the Elysium. Thank you for listening in case you decide to take a break, eat a waffle. I don't know. But thanks.
Or just don't come back. We don't blame you.
Oh, please come back. I have abandonment issues.